Good morning. How y'all doing? Nice new place, huh?
Yes, it is. Brand spanking new. And Jeff Burton's in here with us. Number 31, Caterpillar Chevrolet, 8th in points. And Jeff, talk about your mindset coming in here this weekend to Michigan.
Well, it's pretty much the same as it's been all year. I mean, we feel really good about the way we've been running. This is a track that we kind of struggled on the last few years and haven't performed the way we want to. So this is a big challenge for us to try to run well and be competitive here. And this has been one of our, for whatever reason, been one of our weaker tracks, which is kind of surprising to me, but it has been. So we're looking to come in and step that up and run the way we've been running everywhere else, and I feel like we can.
If you have a question for Jeff, raise your hand, and we'll bring you the wireless question over here. Get one to Mike and then to Nate.
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net. Looking at the championship, you're running for the championship. Kevin's running for the championship. A lot of guys are running for the championship. So why aren't you guys all trying to make as many friends as you possibly can? Because I have a feeling when we get to September, all these guys that have been getting ticked off are going to come looking for everybody.
Well, I wasn't aware that I was making any enemies.
Sorry to you, but I mean, like Kevin and some of these other guys.
Well, Mike, I can't speak for Kevin, and I wouldn't begin to. I can speak for myself, and I haven't. I don't feel like I've done anything on the racetrack to create enemies. I've had some things on the racetrack that I've been part of that I thought were partially my fault, and I've been involved in things that I thought were partially other people's fault. But I haven't gone into any race or any restart and just said, well, to hell with what everybody else thinks. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. I've been consistent in the way I drive, and I'm going to continue to do that. But it is aggressive. I mean, the racing is very aggressive. The restarts are just crazy. I mean, it's really wild, the restarts. Here, it's going to be insane. And that's where you're seeing a lot of the stuff happen is in the races and on restarts. So, but it is what it is. You can't just go in there and not run hard. You got to go and try to get all you can. And when you do that, mistakes are going to happen. I got into Ruderman last week, late in the race. I got put 3 wide and just had to chase the back of the car up the track and got into him. And those things, those things you regret. I don't think it hurt his day, but it could have hurt his day and it could have hurt ours. But part of it's just racing.
Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Did you go to the NASCAR had more meetings apparently this week at R&D Center? Did you attend that?
I did.
Do you have a sense? Maybe you could just give us an idea what's talked about, and are there? Is it like last year, where I know last year they had the meetings and then double file restarts a couple weeks later? Are they looking at making immediate changes? On maybe a sense of what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's immediate. That's going to come. I think they're pretty comfortable with where the sport's moved in the last 12 months to where it is today. They're certainly looking at the future. They're talking a lot about what about testing? What about what do we feel about how the championship battle works? How do we feel about different things? Trying to eliminate some cost. Trying to make sure if we're going to spend money to make sure that it's effective, those kind of things. It wasn't really, procedural rule conversations or those things. It was more big picture outlook, perspective of the teams about where the sport is and where we think the sport can be better, not in small things but in big things. Well, I mean, every conversation I've ever been in with NASCAR, once a year there's a conversation about the chase. Does it work? Could it be better? That's almost an annual conversation. The money is a weekly conversation. It seems like the money's always involved in trying to figure out how to make so more money can go further, so the team owners can be more viable. But there's nothing really like, in my opinion, there was a specific. This is what we're attacking. It was more just a big picture look at everything.
Next question. Let's go back here to Rusty, and then we'll go to Lee.
Rusty Ball and NASCAR Media Group. Just looking ahead, first road course race is coming up. A lot of drivers will say Sonoma is technical. Could you maybe just describe to fans about Sonoma and what is a technical racetrack?
Well, Sonoma's really small. I mean, if you look at our cars that weigh as much as they do, make as much power as they do, Sonoma's a really, really small racetrack. Not in length, but in the way the corners are built. When people talk about it being technical, it's about being precise. And when you're not precise and you don't hit your marks exactly, you lose a lot of time. The reality of it is almost every racetrack is technical. Some are more technical than others. the restarts there, again, they're kind of crazy. Although I will tell you, I think the double file restarts actually made the restarts more tame there. It put people going up the hill more at a constant speed. Seemed like it actually calmed the restarts down, believe it or not. It did there and at Watkins Glen. So, for us, in particular, we've run well on the road courses, but our finishes have been horrible. We've got to find a way to have much better finishes going into Sonoma next week, and that's certainly something we've been thinking about, since last year, because it's what we did well the previous years. We got out of there with good finishes and ran well. We didn't run well, and we finished poorly last year. So we've worked really hard on our road course program. I think every team has. We feel really good going there that we'll have a good shot, but we got to avoid the really bad day.
Lee, go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. You talked about getting into Ruderman. When a situation like that happens, do you call him and explain that it was just, so there's nothing that comes down the pike that can be misconstrued?
Lee, the answer is yes, but the reality of it, I didn't call David this week, and I got to go find him this morning. But if Matt Kenseth gets into me, he doesn't need to call me. You know what I mean? Because I know there was a situation that So I should have called him, and to be quite honest, I went fishing with my son on Monday, and I Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday I was really busy working, and I never did, and but I should have. I want to clear it up immediately. But again, I think that when with a guy like David, who I've raced with a lot, and it's less important for me to call a guy like that because he knows that if something happened, it was Ryan Newman and I got together during the race. He got real loose off the tunnel turn, and I was behind him, and we got together, and I saw him directly after the race just to say, hey, man, But he, again, a guy like that, he knew the whole story. He knew that, it wasn't just like I ran into him, and so it's a little less important. But I probably dropped the ball and I didn't call David.